Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We are live tonight with Donald Branham, and Mr. Branham, of course, is the father of the young late Mackenzie Branham. Mr. Branham, you've agreed to sit down and talk tonight to the people of Fayette County on your Facebook page and here on mine about some new developments that happened in the last 48 hours in your daughter's murder and arson investigation. And just for a recap for the viewers at home that aren't familiar, in 2006,
Yes.
Your daughter died in a house fire that was Ribbon Arson.
Yes.
And it's been 11 years and no one has been taken into custody for that crime.
Right.
And there's been some new developments.
Yes.
What are these new developments?
As a lot of people know, yesterday, Mackenzie was exhumed and taken for more testing to be done.
For those that don't know what the word exhumed means, what does that mean?
They redug up my daughter and take her to have tests ran on her.
Is it okay if we show the pictures that you took at the cemetery yesterday?
Yeah.
That you posted on Facebook?
Yes.
You can go ahead and talk while I'm pulling those up. So when did you find out about this happening? When was this brought to your attention that they were going to bring your daughter back up for additional testing?
The day before they did it, that evening.
So it happened yesterday, which was Tuesday.
Yes.
And we're now looking at some pictures here. And it was, you were notified Monday night.
Right.
How were you notified? What went through your mind?
I had a meeting with the commissioners, and they told me that there was going to be some people visiting me within 24, 48 hours. I kind of thought what it could be. Then at the same token, I thought maybe, it was a break in the case. And then I came home around dinner time after we ate. I got a phone call that they were coming by to see me.
The sheriff's office?
Yes.
And when they told you that they were going to do this, what went through your mind?
Joy, for one. It's something I've been waiting and asking to be done for years. I know they talked about it years ago, about doing it and everything. And at first, you don't want it to happen. But then as I kept digging into my daughter's case and finding things that were going on and stuff, it came more and more that I wanted it done.
Are you thinking this is going to bring to light some new details that
Yes.
was not previously known?
Yes, I believe that what happened yesterday, they will find some things that will help with this case.
When can we expect to hear back from investigators about any new findings?
Everything goes to BCI, and BCI has thousands of cases that come in there. Hopefully, from what I was told, around six months, they should have everything that they asked or requested. But, it can go longer.
And do you think this was in the best interest of the case?
I do.
And how many people were at the cemetery? And who were they? Not names, but titles.
They had the actual crew there that dug my daughter's grave.
The diggers.
The diggers. Then they had a crew there that was what they call the vault people. They're the ones that opened the vault and removed the vault.
And then you had told me that you also had some anthropologists there that are skilled in this type of stuff.
Yes. And they had sheriffs were there, deputies were there, prosecutors were there, me, my wife, and my sister, Chrissy, was there.
Okay. And you went ahead and reburied your daughter again that day after the testing was done?
Yeah.
About 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes.
And that had to be difficult for you.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's hard to, when you bury your child the first time and then find out when you buried her that it was ruled arson and homicide. But it's even hard. I didn't think it would be as hard, but it was to bury her the second time. When I was standing there, and they, towards the end, when they put the vault back over her, is when it hit me the hardest. I even made comments down there to someone that, I wish I could have took her home. When you see that for the first time and experience for the first time, you're thinking, that same thing you think when you're told that your child's dead. That this is just, she's going to come down that sidewalk, open up the door, Daddy, I'm home. And it kind of felt that same way. But I can say one thing, the respect of everybody that was there that didn't know me, that was there, was tremendous.
These are public officials.
Yes, and the respect was it was awesome. They had so much respect for me and my wife.
You and your wife was there with you?
Yes.
Was Mackenzie's mother there?
No.
Was she notified?
Yes. She was notified the same way I was notified. I don't know before or after, but she was notified.
And for whatever reason was not there?
Right.
Okay.
Which bothered me. It bothered me because when it's hard, like I said, to see your child be brought back up and everything, but if you want to make sure nothing, no other mistakes were made or anything, and I mean, it's a privilege to me that they gave, they notified us, they asked us to come down there while they did what they did. So why wouldn't you want to be there? And then on top of that, you're burying your kid again, and just respect for my daughter. I think the mother should have been there.
Is there anything else you want to talk about yesterday before we move on to what else you wanted to share?
Other than, like I said, that I think they did this the right way. It was very professional done. I know a lot of people wish they were posting that they wish they could have been there. I would have loved that. The support from the community, I would have loved it. Because they deserve this too. Like I said, when my daughter died, not only did I die, part of me with her, but a lot of the community and a lot of the children went to school died with her too. Part of them did. And so it would have been nice for them to be there, but for the proper way that the Fayette County Sheriff's Office and the prosecutors and the commissioners and so on did this to give us the privacy and honor that privacy for us was nice. Was very respectful from the county.
And just so the viewers at home, we have some more people that are tuning in, just to update them. Your daughter's grave was reopened to run additional testing in a hopes to find a break in the case.
Yes.
And that happened yesterday.
Yes.
And yesterday morning.
Yes.
Around 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And then they ran the test, and you reburied your daughter shortly after noon, around 1 or 2 o'clock.
Yes. And I want to thank also Morrow's Funeral Home, and they were there, and other state officials. They did take my daughter, and they did put her in a new coffin, new casket.
Because the
other one kind of was rusted and nasty on the outside. And when they brought her back, Morrows did let me know that they put her in a new casket. The sheriff also let me know that they had one there just in case something with the casket, her original one. And when they brought her back and they opened up the hearse, and it was brand new. It was beautiful.
It was the same exact model.
Yeah.
Because the old one, we're looking at a picture now that you posted on your Facebook page. It was not in good shape.
Right.
That had to be emotional too.
Yeah. But carrying my daughter, I want to thank the Jeffersonville Fire Department. They were there and helped carry her. Ryan, the detective from the Fayette County Sheriff, he helped carry my daughter. And so, like I said, it was just like the day that it happened, other than they helped carry her. And then Morrow's Funeral Home allowed me to lower my daughter into the grave.
Saturday, talk about what you're doing on Saturday.
Saturday, I'm holding a kind of a joyful ceremony for my daughter at 5 o'clock at Jeffersonville Cemetery. It's called the Fairview Cemetery. Because now I can say, and as I said it there to everybody that was standing there, that I could tell it was emotion about this. The people that helped do what they did, that she's resting now. My daughter can rest in peace. I know that now she'll never be disturbed. And that day, she told me one thing, and I believe in my child talks to me, and my child told me to keep fighting, Daddy. God only gives you what you can handle. And I believe that. And I'm going to fight. I'm not done.
You have a new autopsy report, or what do you want to move on to next?
Yeah, here, what I have here is a coroner's report. And the coroner's report is what was missing, that Dr. Mesker never got a chance to look at, because somehow it was lost or misplaced. And it's the coroner's report, and this is where Dr. Gay was at the scene, and he talks to everybody at the scene and describes everything at the scene.
So we do have some people that aren't locals that have been following our case from all over the country. So if it's okay with you, I want to set on who these people. I want to talk about who these doctors are. Dr. Gay was the coroner for our county at the time.
Right.
He has since died.
Yes.
And Dr. Mesker is the new coroner.
Right.
But Dr. Mesker was also
the assistant coroner at the time of Mackenzie's death.
Okay, I just wanted to set that scene for people who are not locals.
Right. And
the report you have is Dr. Gay.
It's Dr. Gay. What they would consider this is what they call, back then they call it handwritten notes, because it's years ago they would do it by pencil and paper. Then they came along, they did it by tape recorder, which is what Dr. Gay did. He had a tape recorder and so that he can refresh his memory of who he talked to and everything. And then he takes it back, and then they have a person that works for Dr. Gay that types up the report. And this is the report that I knew about, and I believed in my heart that I would find it. And by me holding the protest that I held, a person did visit me. I will not give names. And they were able to get the report.
They told you that this report existed?
Yes.
Would you like to share it with us?
Yes, I would. The thing about the report is there's some details in this report. And I feel that after the community hears the report, they'll understand why I am doing the things that I'm doing and why I'm fighting as hard as I'm fighting for my daughter. I know everybody already knows about the pickup truck being in the middle of the road, doors open, my ex's phone sitting on the front seat of that vehicle. But I never knew anything else about it until this report.
You shared this report with the county commissioners on Monday, and
Yes.
they were very emotional.
Yes, they were emotional. They've already seen it. Vernon Stanford has this report now. Detective leading the case has this report. There's a couple more people that are, I didn't get around to getting it to them. One is Dr. Mesker, who's going to get the report, and then the prosecutor.
Because all these people you just mentioned did not have a copy of this.
No, they never knew it existed.
And you had a hunch that it existed after a tip.
Yes.
And you fought to find it.
Yes.
And you found it.
Yes. And it actually took me 10 years, 7 months, and 5 days is how long I knew there was something out there. This report existed.
Would you like to share it with us?
Yes, I would. As you can see, I'll turn it around so everybody can see it. It says coroner's report, name of deceased Mackenzie Branham, 7 Walnut Street, Jeffersonville, Ohio, 43128. Phone unknown, age 8 years old. They have her social security number. It's blank.
Redacted.
Right. Date of birth, May 30th, 1997. Date expired, April 27, 2006. Time, estimated at 2:02 a.m. Pronouncement at 2:39 a.m. Location, residence. It says investigating authorities, Fayette County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Brown leading the State Fire Marshal Ron Seaman. Also on the scene at the fire is the Jefferson Township Fire Department with Assistant Chief David McCarty in charge. Assisting them is the Washington Courthouse Fire Department of Fayette County Sheriff Vernon Stanford, Captain Robert Crabtree. Next of kin, Mary Potter-Branham, mother, 7 Walnut Street, Jeffersonville, Ohio. Donald Richard Branham, 820 Gregg Street, Washington Courthouse, Ohio. And then, of course, they had my phone number at the time. Pediatrician, Lenora Benton, which was
interesting about
my children's doctor.
Interesting thing about Dr. Fenton was she also was coroner for a short period of time after Dr. Gay died and before Dr. Mesker was appointed.
I didn't know that. Medical history, none. At the time, any medications, none. And then here it says social history. This is obtained from Joyce Stanford, who was in charge of the program in the county where witnesses, victim counseling, and social services are provided to people interacting with the legal system. Joyce states that the parents are still married but living apart, and the mother has a boyfriend named Kenny Mossbarger, who lived in the home with the descendant's mother. Mary Branham and Donald Branham have 4 children together, 1 girl who is descendant, and then 3 boys. The 3 boys live with the father, and Mackenzie has been living with the mother for approximately the past 6 months. Up until about 6 months ago, the parents used Joyce Stanford's office as a drop-off point for Mackenzie whenever she would from staying with one parent to the other. Then approximately 6 months ago, per Joy, they started working things out and being able to act like adults, which it's in parentheses, meaning we're acting like adults instead of bickering back and forth with the custody of the children. And for most part, Mackenzie had been living with her mother since that point. Poor Joyce Stanford, Mackenzie has stated that she wanted to live with her mother. It is reported that the father hates the mother's boyfriend, Mr. Mossbarger.
So let's go back.
So I want to go over this statement.
Yes.
First of all, I don't have 4 children with her. I had 2 boys and a daughter. That's the first thing. The second thing on this statement that was given the night of the fire my daughter moved in with her mother January the 3rd. It was right after Christmas break. And then she was murdered April. And was not my daughter's choice what had happened, and I'm going to tell the story. I know people are going to bicker about the story. My daughter came to me and said that her mom told her that she was going to get custody of her other daughter, and that it was going to be girls with girls and the boys with boys, meaning my two sons with me, and that the mother was going to make the boyfriend move out. And every parent wants to do what the child wants. And I thought by the mother living in Jeffersonville, I would still be able to see my child, and I did. She came to my work all the time, everything. So there was no problems right there in the beginning. But the other thing on here is I never reported that I hated Kenny Mossbarger. Did I despise of him? Yes. And do I hate him now? No. But I can tell you one thing. He did do some things to my children, which I can prove over and over in children's service reports and everything. He did throw shoes at my children. He did lock my daughter in closets. He did cover her mouth up. He did whip them. He did make my child sleep in her urine. He did make her put underwear on her head. Do I have a reason to hate him? Yes. But do I hate him? No. Does he need help? Yes. And then it goes into history. See the printout from the Fayette County Sheriff's Office dispatcher on sequence of the event. The time of the 911 call was initially at 1:51 a.m., which is exactly what is wrote on the sheriff's report. The time of the fire truck arrival, number 741, from Washington Courthouse Fire Department was 2:16 a.m. And here it says Mackenzie, Branham Mackenzie, page 2, history continued. Joyce Stanford tells me after her discussion with the mother that they heard Mackenzie yelling back to them when they were yelling for her. It was reported to me by Sheriff Vernon Stanford that the reason the mother woke up was because she smelled smoke.
So for people who don't know, we're hearing two names, both the last name Stanford.
Yes.
Talk about that, if you would.
Vernon is the sheriff. Joyce Stanford is a pastor. She visited me the night of my daughter's death. She left my house at 5:30.
She oversaw the visitation center.
She also oversaw the visitation center.
And she's his wife.
And yes, and they're married.
Okay.
And what upset me about reading this report was Joyce Stanford left my house at 5:30 in the morning. My last words, because I did not know that this was an arson and a homicide until after we buried Mackenzie. So at that time, I don't understand why she never mentioned that she was at my house at 5:30 that morning. And then on top of that, the one thing that came out of my mouth was, because I already knew my daughter had passed when they called me at my job, but was that I asked if she was still alive. Because my last conversation on the phone with my ex was, get your cuss word back in the house. Don't let my baby die. And then if you look into the report where somebody made up a page called Justice for Mackenzie 2017, the sister of my ex-wife even states in there that she could hear the anguish in my voice because she was standing next to her sister.
And we're going to talk more about that Facebook page.
Yes. And then it goes on. Fireman Harper told me that when they arrived, they were told that the mother was standing on a porch across the road from her home, and that when the first responders to the scene arrived, her pickup truck was outside running. So not only was the doors on the truck sitting in the middle of the road in front of the house, both doors open, cell phone on the front seat, but it was running. And they're down the road, and they supposedly woke up in the middle of the fire, went out the back of the house, busted out a back window, Mr. Mossbarger said they both went out one window. Mother says she went out the back garage door. I've shown proof of those statements from both parties. So they're at the back of the house. How are they at the back of the house? Just waking up in the middle of smoke, popping, crackling noises. And this is their statement they gave to the Record Herald the day of the fire. This is out of their own mouth. And they talked to my daughter. How are they at the back of the house running around, but their pickup truck that they own is sitting in the middle of the street, both doors open, phone in the front seat, and running.
So remind me and the viewers at home what was initially reported about this truck, because you had been saying for years that it was running.
The first thing I was told was that the mother and boyfriend pushed the vehicle across the road. I was upset about that because I'm like, why would you save a $600, $800 pickup truck and not your own child that's in the house? Why is that vehicle more important than my baby's life? But then I found out by officials that they pushed the truck out of the way so that they could get their fire trucks in there to start fighting the fire.
But now you have documentation by the coroner, in his own words, what really was happening with that truck.
Right.
Which was?
It was sitting in the middle of the road running.
And we now have documented proof of that.
Yes. Firemen.
Which you have been saying for years.
Yes.
And now you have documented proof.
Yes. Firemen Haven told me that after approximately 5 to 10 minutes, probably closer to 10 minutes, they located the descendant's body. He states he could not see anything and was groping around in the smoke-filled room and felt a foot that, to the best of his knowledge, felt like a right foot, and the position of the body was face down. And I want to stop there because the mother, and I think I have printed that statement too, the mother said that my daughter was in the bed with a rabbit. And
she told me
there's no way, right, and there's no way by this report that happened. Also states that he pulled the body towards him and it felt like it was underneath something, which is the ceiling debris, which I have said for many, many times. There's no way they talked to my daughter that night. She never got out of that bed. She never walked out of her room and stood at the top of a balcony and talked to that mother. She never talked to the boyfriend through the floor, which I've said this time and time too. How did that man hear my child or carry a conversation with my child when he's 95% deaf and wears hearing aids? He also lost his contact lenses supposedly in the fire, and also was given permission to go into the semi that was parked next to the house and get a pair of eyeglasses out. So, he then handed the child's body to Fireman Harper, who was on the ladder on the southern window of the room. Fireman Harper states that he did not recollect how the body was handed to him for sure, but he believes that it was handed to him face up. Examination scene.
This is Dr. Gay at the scene.
Yes. After I conducted my examination of the body at the emergency department and turned the remains over to Keith at Morrow Funeral Home for transportation to the Montgomery County Coroner's Office, I went to Jeffersonville to examine the scene. The Washington Courthouse Fire Department is just leaving as I got there. I spoke with Assistant Chief David McCarty and also several of the Jefferson Township Fire Department. The residence is a 2-story home that is on Walnut Street at the end, that dead ends into the railroad tracks. The home is on the south side of the street and faces to the north. It is still dark when I am on the scene, as it is approximately 4:30 a.m. The home is heavily damaged, and the state fire marshal advises that it is too dangerous to enter the structure at this time. So in other words, Dr. Gay never had the chance to go into the room that the body was located, which is a law that wherever the body is found is actually the crime scene. You go back to where the body was found dead. And they never got that chance to go in the room, seal that room off, collect what they needed to collect.
Why didn't they rent a cherry picker lift or something?
I have no idea. And so then it says, the firefighters that climbed the ladder at the back of the house showed me where the descendant room is located. It is in the upstairs in the southwest corner of the house. There are 2 windows in the room that are visible from the outside, and the firefighters confirmed that both windows entered the room. The firefighter that I spoke to stated that Ben Havens from the Washington Courthouse Fire Department had actually entered the room and removed the child's body. The firefighter states that he had climbed the ladder to the window that is on the southern wall of that room, and when he looked inside, he stated that the room was full of smoke and there was also intense heat, and he could not see anyone in the room at that time. His oxygen tank went off and he had to climb back down. He estimated that from the time he arrived on the fire truck number 3 until the time they were informed, and please listen to this, until the time that they were informed that there was someone still inside where they might actually be, was approximately 15 to 20 minutes. In other words, the mother, the boyfriend, never for 15 to 20 minutes waited to tell them that my daughter was upstairs in her bedroom.
Why?
I can't answer that. I can't answer for them. But I did say when I was at my daughter's second funeral yesterday that 20 minutes could have made a big difference on how my child came out of that house. Any other mother that I have talked to, and I've talked to plenty of mothers, and I've talked to a lot of fathers, you would not be standing on a porch. You would be running beside that fire truck if you weren't in the house already trying to get your child out. But you would be running, and you would be pointing, and you would be yelling that my child's in that house. And that never happened. So for 15 and 20 minutes longer, my child laid in that bed. And 2 people know why she laid there that long. Per description by firefighter, there was a dresser in the southwest corner of the room, and the bed was just north of that dresser. The descendant's foot was on the southern end of the bed, and the bed was against the western wall underneath the window on the western wall. Now I'm going to stop there. The southern part of the house is the side where Mr. Mossbarger said he used a ladder, then said he didn't use the ladder. That was on the back side of the house. And if you looked at the photographs I showed, that part of the house, and I have those photographs, that part of the house is this side right here. This is the southern part of the house. That's the back of the house. And if you notice, this is burned. My daughter's bedroom window, the window underneath, which is the mother and the boyfriend's bedroom, which is right underneath my daughter's bedroom. Okay? That's where he supposedly put the ladder. Now, this is the western side where my daughter's bed was laying underneath. And if you notice right here, there's no damage. Why would you not put the ladder on that side of the house if you were trying to rescue my daughter? Why not that side where there's nothing been touched by flames, anything? And her bed is right under this window. And both of those parents should have known where her bed was and where she was sleeping. But also, what I figured out was that's the alley side. So as the fire trucks are coming down the road, that's where the first thing they'd have seen. That's visible to the street as of the fire trucks approaching to the scene.
So they would see a ladder.
They would see a ladder. They would have seen somebody trying to rescue my daughter. Everything. Why would you put it on the back side of the house where it's fire damaged?
Didn't you tell us in a previous broadcast that Mr. Mossbarger had some sort of firefighter training?
He was a 12-year volunteer fireman for a fire station. I won't give that name.
Here in the county.
For respect for the fire station, I won't give that name.
Okay.
So
he allegedly had training on how to fight a fire.
Yes. And the fire station was only 2 houses away. 2 houses away. And that was a brand new fire station. So it automatically had a red phone on the outside, which if you picked the red phone up, it automatically dials 911. Even if you picked it up and laid it down and went and got some gear, broke out a window, got gear, whatever, and went to that house to start trying, to save my kid, the 911 would automatically been dispatched. Not 25 minutes later when a neighbor calls 911.
Even if they didn't have a location, being 2 doors down, they'd see it.
Yeah, right. The time of the examination is 3:15 a.m. The examination takes place in the next to the last room of the ophthalmology room at the Fayette County Memorial Hospital. Female, she was a female Caucasian. Development. This is a female child appearing to be 8 years of age. She is wearing a white t-shirt with thin straps at the shoulder, teal-colored underwear, probably white or light blue socks with blue heels and toes. And that's the description of the 3 objects that were destroyed 3 months after my daughter's death.
Which you just found out happened recently.
Right, but I didn't know exactly color of everything. Page 3, I won't go into that, but it talks about the skin, the heat, the neck, the chest, abdomen, extremities, back, musculoskeletal, remarks, cause of death, pending autopsy, carbon monoxide poisoning secondary to a house fire. Funeral home, Marl's Funeral Home, Fayette County Coroner, Albert G. Gay, M.D., 5 Fayette Center, Washington Courthouse, Ohio, 43160.
So after hearing that report, what else do you what new thoughts?
Well, here's my thing. The pickup truck is a very, very major concern in this case. 2 people were in that vehicle. And I've already come up with my theory who I believe, I won't mention names, who I believe left the house in that pickup truck. I believe they panicked. I believe they left the truck in the middle of the road. I believe those people went down the railroad track. And I believe the mom and the boyfriend were still out back. I believe then that's when they thought that those persons had left. I believe that's when they took off looking for help. And because when they came around the houses and came up the other side of Maple Street going towards High Street, I believe because of the smoke, the flames and everything, they didn't see the truck still sitting in the middle of the road.
Which confirms everything that you've been saying.
Everything I've been saying since day one. I've never changed my story, except for, I will apologize to some people. Here's the thing about my story changing is I worked 11 years on this case. And if you can see, I have tons of why I've worked on this case. I have over 3,000 pieces of paper and everything. And every time there's something new. So yeah, my story changes, but it changes for the better. And it's getting closer for justice for Mackenzie. Other people are changing the story of what happened during this fire. So I apologize that, I come out and I say, hey, this is what's going on, and because to me, it hits me hard. It hits me in my heart, and I get a thrive on it, that I'm something I can, man, I've got something else to go to them with and say, look into this, check this out. But I don't hide it from my community. I let them know that what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and the help that I need from them.
Let's be realistic here. I mean, I'm not trying to flatter you. I'm just speaking factually here. If you weren't pursuing this every day of the years, you would not have found this coroner report.
No.
Because no one else knew it existed.
Right. Including all investigators on this case never knew this existed.
And Dr. Gay has since died.
Right.
Furthermore, you would not have learned that the clothes had been destroyed.
Right.
And yesterday would not have happened.
Right.
If you would have stopped fighting.
Right.
So
right.
It's pain.
And I'm not going to stop fighting. And we'll go to that page again of Mackenzie 2017. They had made a statement in there that I am gaining from this. And I am gaining from this. But not the kind of gain they think I'm gaining from. So I'm gaining from this because I'm going to get justice for my daughter. Because one thing I do believe in is God. I believe that my daughter talks to me. And I believe my daughter talks to other people. And I believe my daughter has spoke to other people. And I've always said this. This is an awesome community. And when something tragically happens, this community does come together. It does. And this community, without them, my daughter and me, we couldn't move mountains. And we've moved mountains. I proved that.
Your daughter was the first case to ever have an exhumation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Which would not have happened had you had stopped fighting.
Right. And I'm not trying to bash the mother, but I have, I sit back and I wonder why. Why ain't she fighting? Why? It tells you right here. She can tell her stories, that we had a terrible marriage and we had this and that. It doesn't matter when it comes to your child. You always put that to the side and you fight for justice. And I have been the only one fighting for justice. Sorry, I'll take that back. Fayette County community and my family and my wife have been fighting for justice. And we're the only ones fighting for justice. If you go back and you look at it, and I don't want to take this as a brag, and I don't want people to take this as a bragging, but if you go back and you look at every newspaper article, I was questioning this fire for years. I have been in every paper about this. I have not yet seen one article of the mother asking, and I've said this tons of times. Let's put Mackenzie on the back burner for a few minutes. She died. She died a horrible death. And somebody set that fire. But wouldn't you want to know who tried to kill you? Wouldn't you want to know who was after you? Because my daughter, 8 years old, didn't have no enemies. Nobody hated that child. So wouldn't you want to know who was after you? And the only reason you would not fight, and the only reason you wouldn't be like I am up that Fayette County Sheriff's office's butt, is because you already know what happened that night. And that's the God's honest truth. And I'm going to prove something else here. This right here, and honestly, I don't feel I have to prove anything, but I'm going to. This right here is from, and you can see here, it is from the State of Ohio Office of the Attorney Generals. That's what that is. Okay? On this page of Justice for Mackenzie 2017, they saying that I'm making all this money and I've made all this money and all this money, and the mom didn't get anything. Well, here's the reason why the mom didn't get anything, and I'll read it. On April 27, 2006, your minor daughter, Mackenzie Branham, was the victim of an arson in Jeffersonville, Ohio. As a result of this incident, she sustained fatal injuries. The incident was reported to the sheriff of Fayette County within 72 hours of its occurrence. The law requires that an award be denied if the victim or applicant was convicted of a felony within 10 years prior to the crime that gave rise to the claim, or during the pendency of the claim. In this case, Mary Branham was convicted of theft, 5th-degree felony, on January 30th, 2003, which is within 10 years prior to the crime involved in this claim. Therefore, while the Attorney General recognizes your loss, the law requires that no reparation can be made to Miss Branham.
So you're saying there's a Facebook page that someone has sprouted up making claims that you got all the money.
I got all the money.
And Mom got nothing.
And Mom got nothing.
And you're saying this is why Mom got
and
nothing.
I'm holding, they even posted the summary, but they didn't post the whole summary. They posted my summary and what I got. I got back $1,063. Right here it says, award summary. Ohio Attorney General Branham, Donald R., $1,062.86. Branham, Mary, $2,830 is what she was asking for. I have her receipt of what she paid towards the funeral.
Was it $2,000?
No, it was not. And then Burke's Monument got $2,356.75.
For the vault and the...
I guess for the vault and stuff. Right. So, the summary that they posted only shows my name and my money. Doesn't show everybody that got paid.
And more importantly, you're saying that it doesn't show why she didn't get paid.
Why she didn't get her money. And I just read it.
So she was denied that $2,000.
And if you want to, I would like for you to look at it. You can tell it's a legal document.
Yes. Attorney General at the time, of course, was Jim Petro.
Yes, and now he's in his own practice.
Yes.
He no longer works for them.
And so I'm looking here, and the letter is addressed to both you and the mother.
Yes.
Signed by the Assistant Attorney General, Edna Ema, it looks like.
Yes. Will you show that to the people, too?
Yeah, we'll show them.
Show them that lady's signature that...
So we can see that it's a signed document by the Attorney General. It's a little hard to see because of the lighting. There we go. And it just says here the reason why, and I'll just reread it again. The law requires an award be denied if the victim or applicant was convicted of a felony within 10 years prior to the crime. In this case, Mary Branham was convicted of theft, a 5th-degree felony. This is within 10 years prior to the crime involved in this claim. Therefore, we recognize your loss, but you're not going to get a reward or any kind of summary.
Right. And now what I want to show next is, this is the actual Morrow Funeral Home receipt. It is yellow. It is not white. It is yellow.
So it means it's a copy.
And right here at the bottom, it tells you who signs to pay for the funeral. Will you please read that to the public of whose signature is only on there and who's not?
Okay. So this says, it appears to be, says Donald R. Branham.
Yes.
There is a place here for a co-signer.
Yes.
Could be anybody that was helping pay for the funeral, but it's blank.
But it's blank.
The amount, there's a lot of boxes here. It looks like the total was $3,700.
Yes.
$3,742.27.
Yes. And then whose signature is at the bottom of that?
And this is funeral director Mr. Morrow, of course, who at the time was and still is a co-owner.
Right.
Of the funeral home. But and here it is on another sheet, signature of co-signer. Empty. It's empty.
Yes.
There's nothing there.
Right.
Let's show them. Nothing's on that co-signer page. It's a little hard to see. But they're just your name.
Just Donald Branham.
And so that is why you're saying that you were reimbursed.
And I didn't get reimbursed for this.
No.
People did pay for the funeral.
Okay.
And here's the thing: when you sign this paper, which you can see up here, it says Mackenzie Branham, says Morrow Funeral Home at the top. It's a real document. My signature, Dave Morrow's signature down there. No signature over here where it's with the Ben and Mother signature or anybody, kin or anything that wanted to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I signed that, I was given this. This is an actual envelope from Morrow's Funeral Home. You can see it.
It says funeral arrangements on it.
And inside of this are receipts. And they're not Walmart receipts where it says over here rent. And it says right here, Morrow's Funeral Home. Has all their address, everything on it, who paid what, who made a payment. And right here, I will show you. I don't want to show you everybody's receipts, but I will show you two. This is Mary Branham's receipt. And amount that she paid. Because it wasn't $2,830.
It says Morrow Funeral Home, Mackenzie Branham was the services received from Mary Branham. It looks like the sum of $1,700.72.
Thank you.
And it says 72 cents, but it has 86 cents down there. So it's a discrepancy in a couple of pennies.
And here's my receipt. And will you please
this
read
says
that one?
Same date as the previous, May 15th, I believe. Mackenzie Branham received from Donald Branham the sum of $1,063.00.
And above it says how much?
It says paid in full, last balance, so you paid the funeral off. The new balance is now $0.
And it was $1,062.86 on there too?
That's what it says that
and
you
I paid $1,063. Will you please let the viewers know what the summary I got back from the State's Attorney General's office?
So you received from the State's Attorney General's office $1,062.86, the exact sum that you paid to Dave Morrow at Morrow's Funeral Home.
And this receipt here also shows that was paid in full?
It shows that it's a zero balance and says paid in full.
And then at the top of it, okay, and will you please read the bottom of the new balance after my ex-wife paid? What's the balance on that?
The balance is for the exact sum that you paid, $1,062.86.
Thank you. But when you look at the receipts on this webpage called Justice for Mackenzie 2017, it doesn't have no Morrow's funeral receipts. But they said in their statement these were Burke's Morrow's Funeral Home receipts. And I just showed you the true, actual documents from Morrow's Funeral Home.
So you merely took a check and passed it straight onto the funeral home without pocketing a single penny?
Yes. Now we'll go to Burke's Monument. Okay, if you will look here, I have two yellow copy receipts. Not white, not handwritten, white, yellow. Actual agreement receipts. Now I'm going to explain these things. The one that they had posted on Justice for Mackenzie 2017 was this one. And the date is 4/29, 2 days after my daughter's death. And if you notice where it says purchaser, will you read the signature where it says purchaser?
Well, it says, let me find it here. It says, well, it's blank.
There's no purchaser's name.
It's blank.
No signature, right?
Uh-huh.
And that means because that wasn't purchased.
But it does say that it was the signature, the signer on this receipt was Kurt Carey.
Kurt Carey.
And Mr. Carey, of course, was owner of Burke's Monument.
Yes. And on this receipt that they posted this one. And she said that she paid for my daughter's headstone. That's what she said. On this one, it says this is a bench headstone. If you go out to my daughter's grave, there is no bench headstone. So what happened was, this was brought, me and my ex was going to get her a bench. This is me and her. But we didn't purchase it yet. We were going to get a bench. Then when my daughter's headstone, the other one, was stolen, I went to Burke's and told him I'm not doing nothing with her. She's involved in the death of my daughter's headstone. So then here's the other receipt.
And this is for the heart-shaped
And
one?
and it says right here at the top, finished, heart over heart, polished 2. Will you please read the signature of the purchaser and everything on that, please?
Yes, I will read that for you. We were just showing a picture to the viewers at home of, of that new headstone.
Yes.
This says the headstone that the ladies and gentlemen at home just was looking at was that heart-shaped one. It says that the purchaser is your signature, it appears, Donald R. Branham, also salesman, Mr. Kurt J. Carey, in the amount of... looks like $416.35. It looks like they gave you a discount of $1,000 for some reason.
Actually, Marianne did pay $290. She paid $290 on that first receipt.
And what you're saying
on the first receipt, and Kurt Carey carried it over to the new headstone.
I'm looking at it. It says minus $290.
Right, and will you read on there? Is there a $290 on the very first headstone, the bench that never was purchased because of the... It says $290, right?
It does say $290. As we can see, Mr. Carey, did credit you for the $290 for the heart shape.
Yes, and that was from the mother, $290. And then there was $1,000, and that $1,000 was from the church in Jeffersonville, Methodist Church, which actually Robin Beekman is the one that wrote the check to Kurt Carey, Burke's Monument.
That's why it said less 1,000.
Right. Okay. The less 1,000 was that because the pastor and the people of that church, when they heard about my daughter's headstone getting stolen, they said they still had the $1,000 there, and they transferred the $1,000 to Burke's Monument, which purchased the double hearts. I also paid the remaining balance, which was the $416.35.
So, what is the point you're trying to make here, Mr. Branham?
Well, the point I'm trying to make here is that this Justice for Mackenzie 2017 came out with this page, and they said in there that they were going to tell the truth of what happened to my daughter and what really happened. But all I've seen them do is bash me and about money. And if you look at the other receipts, there's other receipts on this page. If you look at the top, it says National City. And then if you look at the very corner of it, it says Doug Osborne. That was the owner of Tristan's. Then it says funds for Mackenzie Branham. That means that only that man can take that money out of that bank or put, you know what I'm saying?
Tristan's was a local bar.
Right. And the bank ain't even in Washington Courthouse. It was in Newark, Ohio. It's all on every one of those receipts that she posted as saying. And what happened was that man was fired. And what he was doing was all those deposits that you see on there were money coming from the bar going into a bank account that he actually took when he was let go.
He took money from the account set up in your daughter's name?
Right. Right. So what I'm trying to say to you is here's a bogus page. And a lot of people told me that when they saw it, they thought it was a page that I put up. And then they went into it and they looked at it and all that stuff. But they said there was only one autopsy report. I proved that wrong tonight. There's 2. They said that they had all the receipts. Paid to Burke's Monument, paid to Morrow's Funeral Home. I'm the only one with the real receipts.
Yeah, so I did take a look at this page briefly, saw some of these receipts. I don't read some of the stuff they post because I don't believe it. But there were some receipts posted on there from Burke's Monument where Mr. Carey's signature was supposedly
Right. If you look at one of the receipts, it's a handwritten receipt. It's handwritten. All these figures are. And then it says Kurt Carey. And what I did, because I'm good at what I do. And when it comes to my daughter, I pay attention to every single thing. And on those receipts, it says signature Kurt Carey. And the last name on it, it says Kerry. I have a signed affidavit here of Kurt Carey's signature.
I know Mr. Carey.
Here's Kurt Carey's signature. Will you please read that? This is his signed affidavit. And if you look at his last name, you can barely read his last name. See that signature? You can barely read it. And there's no K.
That's the notary public that you're pointing at.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is.
Yes.
And you don't see it. You can't see it. It does not say Kerry. And if you look at these receipts that I got from Vert Monument, they're signed exactly the same way. There's his signature. There is no Kerry. There's 3 signatures by Kirk Kerry.
They almost all look identical.
And those are all legit signatures by Kirk Kerry.
Right. They almost look identical.
But on the one that they have on their page says Kirk, and then it says Kerry.
I know Mr. Kerry. I've known him for many years. He's not going to spell his name wrong. I think I can testify that.
And what hurt me was some people got on there and they tried to defend me. They knew that this was bogus, and they blocked them. Immediately blocked them and said no bashing. But then they left Mary Ann's aunt's names up, and it was all right for them to bash me, but no one else was allowed to bash the page. So what I was trying to say is there is a page. It's called Justice for Murdered Mackenzie Taylor Branham. It is a closed group. I am the only one that can accept you into that group, and 2 other people. And that shows everything. It shows everything that's going on. You can follow everything that is going on with the case. It shows pictures. It shows every article that was printed in the newspaper. It shows every article that was on the news. It gives all their websites and everything. But I just wanted to clear it up with the viewers of about this page so that they didn't get sucked into something that wasn't for real. Because I haven't yet seen the mother give her story. And I'm going to tell you why her mother ain't going to give a story. This is why the mother's not going to give a story. The mother has told so many stories that she is not going to remember every story she told every person. And eventually somebody's going to catch it and they're going to say, wait a minute, that ain't what you told me years ago. So everybody waiting on that page for that story is never going to come out. Everybody that believes that page is for justice for Mackenzie, it's not. Because I haven't seen anything on there that showed anybody justice for my daughter. I have showed everything to this community. I have never hid nothing from anybody in this community. So I just want people to be aware of that page. I believe who it was that brought the page up. And yes, they made the statement that I'm gaining from this. But actually, I haven't gained anything that they thought I was gaining. But I am gaining. And the gaining I'm getting is justice for that baby girl. And it's coming. I told everybody in the beginning that this was her year, 2017. And for somebody to put a page up and then use my daughter's name, don't even have the animosity to come out and say who they are. I have never hidden my name. I've never hidden my face. I've never hid anything I've done. But this page, they hide their name. They use my daughter's name as the person that sets the page up. You disrespected my daughter. And that's how I look at it. You disrespected her because you don't want the truth out. And you're trying to stop me and you're trying to pull me down. And I'm tough. And I am smart. And I'm going to get justice for my baby.
You're going to do something about this Facebook page, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Anything else you want to talk to about the people at home?
No.
All right. We'll just close out here with a picture that we have of your daughter.
I do want to say, though, do I have time to say?
We have all the time you want.
I do want to say I thank everybody, the support, the fight with me, because if it wasn't for you all and the people that come on there and say that push me that little more and give me that a little more of an edge, I don't know what I would do if I was alone on this. But with my wife and my children and their support and my family and some of my sisters that are through Christ, my my neighbors, I have wonderful neighbors. They allow me to sit down and talk, and you know, I'd rather get it out than to let it keep building up inside of me. I appreciate everybody's help with this. Everybody that sent out letters, everybody that's, I mean, there's been so much work on this, and the comments that you guys give. If you read one of my pages, I even put in there that, you know, I made mistakes. I'm not going to say I'm going to sit here and say I'm an angel, because I'm not. You know, I'm going to put it out there. Did the mother have a CPO order on me? Yes, she did. Was it a false CPO? Yes, it was. Did her ex have a CPO on me? Yes, he did. Did I ever go to church every Sunday? No, I did not. But I can tell you one thing. I love my children. And I fight for my children. And I still fight for the ones I have today with me. Because that's my job. And one thing I can say, as a parent right here, sitting here in front of you all, is I would never wish this on anybody. What I have been through, and what I keep going through, if it wasn't for this lovely community of Fayette County, I couldn't tell you where I'd be today. It's you guys. Honestly, it's you all. And my daughter sees it. And my daughter told me from the beginning, trust the people, Dad. We're strong as a group. We can make things happen, and look, it happened. My daughter got a Zoom. Yeah, it was a hard day for me. Yeah, it was a terrible day for me. But honestly, and I'm not wanting this to be in a mean way, but I got to hold my daughter again. I got to hold her again. I got to wrap my arms around that coffin, and I got to kiss her, and God gave me one more day with her. Because now I know that she is resting now, never to be disturbed again. But I got to hold my baby. God gave me that. He gave me that. He gave me that opportunity. My daughter gave me that opportunity. My daughter said, my daddy's going to hold me again. And I'll get it one more time to hold her. And when my day comes and I pass, I know I'm going, and I know I'm going to hold my baby girl again. But as long as I'm alive, and as long as I'm breathing, and as long as I can walk and talk, I'm going to fight. And the people that did this, all I can say, run. Because we're going to get you. There's more of us and more good in us than there is in the evil. And I just want to thank this community.
Is that everything, Mr. Branham?
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the story of Mackenzie Branham, whose body was exhumed yesterday after 11 years. Her murder is still unsolved, and they do not have anyone in custody, but yesterday was a day that will hopefully, Mr. Branham says, bring a breakthrough to the case, and additional testing was done on young Mackenzie's body, and she was placed back into her final resting place yesterday, and we expect to, from what Mr. Branham has been told from investigators, to have hopefully some more leads coming in the very near future.
Right. And I want the community to have faith. Have faith in me. Have faith in who I'm choosing to do what they're doing on this case. I believe the people now that are involved in this are going to make things happen. I believe that things are going to change, and I believe that things are going to move forward. And faith is all we can have. And my daughter told me what has been done is exactly what she wanted done. It's what she wants. And I believe in my daughter. So like I said, I can't say 1,000 times over how much I love every one of you in this community. Every one of you that support me. I hope that Saturday at 5 o'clock at Fairview Cemetery, you'll please come out and pay your respects to my daughter. Show her that we're here for her and that she is our number one priority, the community. Thank you.